My name is Joey Parrott. I am with Wells Fargo. I have been with Wells Fargo for 31 years now. You guys know what has happened with the banking business in the last few years, where you go to one bank today and it's under one name, and you come in tomorrow and there's a different name on the bank. You go, oh my goodness, what's happening? That is nothing new. That has been going on as long as I have been at the bank. I have been through 5 different mergers. So, thinking about it, it's like learning a whole new operating system. Every time the bank changes, whatever, all I have to do is learn a new operating system. So that's it. But I'll let you guys know that I did graduate from the college in the other town over. Went to school at Dalton State College, then went off to Shorter College. When I got to back here, I worked for the newspaper for a little bit before I started working at the bank. When I started there, I was in marketing and PR. Then I became a loan officer. I became a branch manager. I got my investment license. I was a private personal banker for about 15 years, so I heard a lot of stuff that had to do with people's finances. So any questions that you have that you'd like to ask, feel free to ask. It's probably something that I have heard before in some shape or form. Doesn't matter. But in the last few years, I do what we call our Outwork program, which gives me the opportunity to come and talk to students, not only high school students, but I also go to a lot of colleges and talk to their students too. But I also go to a lot of companies and talk to their employees about different things too for financing. I like to talk to anybody about money matters because we all need to know it. The world revolves around money, so whatever we're talking about, it has to do with money. So that's who I am. So while I'm talking now, feel free to ask any questions, okay?
I am Amanda Collins. I am not from here. I'm from Knoxville. I've been with the bank about 4 years, almost 4 years. I went to school, to college at LMU. Has anybody ever heard of that? Well, anyway, I went there on a volleyball scholarship. And that was a long time ago. Did you know that? I did. And I started off at the bank as a teller, and then a lead teller, and then I was service manager, and now I am a personal banker and loan officer. So that's a little bit about me.
Thanks, ma'am. Thank you. What I want to talk to you today, anybody in here, everybody in here is a senior. Anybody in here already 18 years old? Everybody? Good. Okay. This is stuff we're actually talking about colleges, what it's going to take, what you're going to be doing, and all that kind of good stuff. So, some of you probably have already decided what you're going to do, where you're going to go, and how you're going to pay for it. Some of you are going, oh my God, I'm going to be graduating from high school. I got to get on the stick. So we'll talk a little bit about paying for college. Some things, some quick tips. The best thing that I can tell you to do is to start early. Right now is not too early to start thinking about where you're going to go to college. How many of you in here already know exactly where you want to go to college? How many of you go, oh, okay, well, we've got to narrow it down to about 3 or 4 places? Okay. Good. Right now is a good time to start thinking about it. If you think that you've missed some deadlines along the way when I talk about different things that you do, don't worry about it. If you've missed the deadline, do it anyway. Go ahead and do it. Most of this is going to be geared toward parents, but I like to bring it here and talk to you guys about it so that you can go home and say, okay, Mom, Dad, here's what we got to do. So keep that in mind. Your financial picture, your parents' financial picture, your financial future depends on what you do from now on. Okay? Keep that in mind. And don't assume that Mom and Daddy are going to do everything for you. Those of you that are 18, I don't know if you know yet, but 18, you are now legal. And you are now responsible adults. Do not expect Mom or Daddy or the teachers or the guidance counselors to do everything for you. It is now your responsibility to do all this stuff. So keep that in mind. Oops, did I pass over? Some things that you need to keep in mind for your family when we're talking about paying for college. First thing we have to do is look at income. Do your parents make enough money to actually pay for your college? Is that the only thing that they're thinking about? I make enough money, I will pay for my child's college education, that's okay. Is that what they're going to do? Have they put money into a savings account for you? Do you have a savings account that they started? Maybe grandparents started a savings account many years ago and said, this is going to be for your education. Leave that alone. Financial aid, that is not a bad thing. Everybody everybody here will go to the financial aid office for one thing or another. Doesn't mean that you're actually borrowing money, but it could mean that you're looking for grants and scholarships, so you don't have to, which is a great thing. 529 plans. Anybody in here even know what a 529 plan is? Anybody? So apparently nobody in here has a 529 plan that you know of, right? Your parents could have opened a 529 plan in your name. What that is, it is for education. What they do is they put money into a 529 plan, then they can invest it in the stock market, they can put it into CDs, certificates of deposits. It can build up over the years and over the years, so that when you decide to go off to college and pay for your education, you can withdraw all the money from this 529 plan and nobody pays taxes on it, all the income that came off of it. That is a great thing. So maybe later on in years, whatever, when you're out of college, when you turn 35 or 40 and decide to have a family of your own, you can start a 529 plan for your children too. That's a different place. Federal student loans are really good. Student loans, particularly federal loans, they're going to be good ones for you. Some of them have great rates for you. Private student loans, some major banks still do student loans. A lot of the banks over the last few years got out of doing student loans. The government decided they didn't want to guarantee those anymore because the number one loan that's never paid back is a student loan. However, I will tell you this, didn't tell the last group, but I'll tell you guys this. A student loan is the one loan you can never escape from. You can file bankruptcy in your old age, but they will not let you put a student loan in a bankruptcy. Keep that in mind. The student loans will follow you. Private student loans, federal loans, investments. Maybe your parents just have a lot in the stock market. They've invested a lot of good money. They've made money for the years. And they go, this is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to pay for my child's education. That's a great thing. They may say they want to use equity in their home. Now, does anybody know what home equity is? Anybody? Yes?
Like mortgaging your house for getting money for it.
What's the equity in the house?
Like what the parents are, like the parents have paid off like the debt for it.
Right. If you've got $100,000 value on your home, your mortgage is $50,000. The difference is the equity that they still have. They have, $50,000 in equity. So they may be deciding they want to borrow that money against their home to pay for it. And then, of course, there are lines of credits. If they have big credit cards, they may want to try to do some things like that. Keep that in mind. But things that they have to keep in mind, one thing for one person is not the same for the other. Everybody in here, you're going to be looking at different things. Just because it was right for one person besides you doesn't mean it's the right thing for you. So everybody's going to be making their own options to come up with. You may be looking at a combination, which is always the best thing. Financial aid, your savings, your loans, income, working during college, whatever it may take. Some things to consider for your parents. What is their financial situation today? In the last several years, a lot of folks lost their jobs, or they got put back to maybe part-time work, whatever it was. So whatever their financial situation is today, they've got to consider that. What is the amount of money that they have saved, or if they have saved any, is that enough to pay for your college? Are you going to have enough to do it? How much is it going to cost you to cover it? And what are you going to be expected to pay? If you guys get enough grants and scholarships so that it covers your entire college years, that's wonderful. But what about for the difference? And usually there is a difference. Because not only is there tuition, there's room and board, but then there's all your books, there's your transportation, any of those things all come in handy too. And what are you going to be getting into for their retirement? If your parents are saying, yes, I've got all this money saved up, but golly, I was really planning to retire in the next 4 or 5 years, what's that going to do to them if they take all of their savings, they take all their investments, and put it into your college education? Are they not going to be able to retire? Are they going to have to work even later? Are they going to tap into the home equity? What are their short-term goals? Again, if they're looking at borrowing money against their home, that's money that they immediately have to start paying back. So they have to think again, what is my financial situation today? If I borrow money against the house, we take out a loan there, and I'm going to have to start making payments on that. Now I'm going to have a mortgage, I'm going to have an equity loan payment, am I going to be able to afford it? So those are things that your parents are going to have to think about. Financial aid, how does it fit in? Financial aid is a lower cost option for all families. Keep that in mind. It is a great thing for you to keep in mind. Start with a visit to the school's financial aid officer. I tell people this. When I finished my first year at Dalton State and I went to Shorter College, anybody know where that is? Down in Rome. It is now Shorter University. When I went to Shorter, I had my acceptance letter and I walked into the financial aid office and I said, okay, here's my letter. You said I can go to school here. I have no money. Okay, she looked at me and went, well, let's just see what we can do. So she immediately started looking at different grants, different scholarships and things that she could apply for with me and whatever's left over. Anybody ever know who Ty Cobb was? Any baseball players in here? Anybody? Ty Cobb was a really famous baseball player. He has a Ty Cobb scholarship. I have never played baseball in my life. If you ever saw me throw a ball, you would know why. No good at that. But because I was a sophomore going to Shorter, I had at least a B average going in, I could apply for the Ty Cobb scholarship. I did that. I got it. I was awarded that for the 3 years that I was at Shorter. So I like to tell everybody, yes, I never played baseball, but I graduated with a Ty Cobb scholarship, so you never know what you're going to get. So that was a great thing. But then what she also did is she talked to me about other options, grants and things like that, and whatever money I still needed, I was able to borrow. But then, of course, it's all against you and your family. What school are you going to be going to and can you afford to pay for it? Keep in mind, too, when you're thinking about going off to college, look at what career you're looking to go into. If you're looking to go into to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to go into early childhood education. If you want to go into social work, where are you going to go to college and how much is it going to cost you? I tell people this about my nephew. He graduated from high school in Los Angeles and decided he wanted to go to USC, University of South California, and Southern California. But he also wanted to be an attorney. So he knew that was going to cost him a lot of money to go there. It did. He went through school there, he worked, he got scholarships, he got grants, but he also had student loans. He did his graduate work there, got his doctorate there, so now he is a real estate attorney in California. But he graduated with a $100,000 in student loans. Does that sound like a lot?
Yeah.
It is a lot. It's a lot for me, that's for sure. But keep in mind, his career goal was to be a real estate attorney. He knew that he was going to be working somewhere that would pay him at least $100,000+ a year. So when you're looking at going off to college, look at what the college is going to cost you. What are you going to major in? You probably don't want to go to Harvard and pay several $100,000 a year to have a degree in social work. You're probably not going to make enough money to pay that off in your lifetime. I'm just saying. Keep that in mind. Okay? Getting started. Where do we go from here? The FAFSA. You know what the FAFSA is? Everybody has to do this. This is your application for any kind of grant, federal, state, whatever. If you are going to Dalton State College, you have to apply for the FAFSA. This is your HOPE scholarship application. If you don't do the FAFSA, you don't even get the HOPE. Okay? So you have to do that first thing. It is required for all federal loans. You complete this as early as possible. The results, when you take that, you have to tell them your top 3 college choices. Once the results come in from the FAFSA, they will automatically send those results straight to those 3 colleges that you picked. So you don't even have to think about it. It's going straight to them. That's a great thing. But be sure when you do this that you apply for the PIN number. You have to have a PIN number, and your parents will have a PIN number. The book that you get here that says Planning for College, there's a place in there that says, what is your PIN? Write it down, make sure you keep it. They will send you, after you take this and you apply for the pen, they give you an email. It goes into your email. It doesn't stay there forever, so you have to make sure you write the pen number down somewhere because that email will disappear after so many days. Keep that in mind. Your parents and you both get that. And then to find it, of course, you just go to fafsa.ed.gov, and that's where you get the application for the FAFSA. Questions there? Y'all know it all. Good. Next thing, watch for the Student Aid Report, SAR report. That will come out probably later on. It will give you a summary of what you did on the FAFSA application. Again, it goes to all of the schools, and then the schools will tell you what kind of awards you get. The FAFSA report will tell you, okay, well, if you're going to this school, these are different awards that you can apply for and you can get. It could be grants, work-study programs, or maybe some of the federal loans that are out there. Compare all of these awards too. One of the things, of course, at the very bottom is to start with the very lowest and work your way up. When you get the FAFSA report and you look at what it'll do for all of the 3 colleges, go, okay, well, here's the least expensive college. How much can I get there? What's it going to cost me? And then work your way up. Compare that one to the next one and then the next one. See what it's going to be. And again, keep in mind, what is your goal? What's your career? What's going to be your major? Is it going to pay for itself to do? Scholarships, types of aid, scholarships. Love scholarships. You don't pay them back. I like that. I like to have money I don't have to pay back. But be careful of scams. Did you know that there are scams out there that will say, okay, we will be glad to help you look through the internet and find all kinds of scholarships, and all you have to do is pay us $50 and we'll do that. Well, that's a scam. You can look for every scholarship that's known to man out there that's available to you without having to pay somebody to look for them for you. Okay? The findaid.org, that's a great place to start. And then the other one is the fastweb.com. There are places out there in the internet, all you got to do is tap into it. Look for every scholarship. Go to the schools, find out what they're doing. Go to the different states, find out what they're doing. Those are the scholarships. Grants, again, they are awarded, but they're based on your financial need or your academic achievement. So if your parents don't make a lot of money, you can apply for the grants. Or if your education, your GPA is so high, you may graduate with 4.0 yet. Ooh, just show me. Yes, there's a few of you that have that, right? I like it. These do not have to be paid back. That's another thing that's great, so make sure you're looking for the grants. Some are federally funded and some are state funded. So depending on where you're going to college, if you're going to your University of Georgia, that's obviously Georgia. If you're going to UT, make sure you look up Tennessee. If you're going to Alabama or Auburn or places like that, or Kentucky or whatever state you're going to, make sure you check that state's grants as well. They may have something special for you. And again, the college itself. Where are you going to college? And when I say college, let me make sure you understand this. College can be anything post-high school. If you're going to a 4-year college, if you're going to a 2-year college to get an associate's degree, if you're going to one of the career centers where you can go and get a degree in cosmetology, that's okay. Anything post-high school, you can apply for any of these grants and scholarships too. And then the federal work-study program. They are based on finances. It allows you to earn money while you work. Anybody know what this means? Work-study program? Anybody in here working already, have a job that you're working? Okay. Did you know you're in a work-study program right now? When I went off to college, that was one of the things that I did. They gave me a work-study program so that I was assigned as a personal assistant to one of my professors 3 years in college. What that allowed me to do is work, make extra money, and that paid for all of my extra expenses. Anybody in here planning on going to Berry College, they have a great work-study program, and it helps apply for it applies it to your tuition. Berry College actually started that way. You know, it was a dairy farm. It was a cattle place down there. So anybody that wanted to go to Berry College, that's what Marcia Berry decided she wanted to do. She wanted to give everybody the opportunity for higher education. So what you did is you came in and you worked, and they paid for your college. So that's a great thing to do. And sometimes you can work on campus, which is what I did, or they'll assign you a place off campus to help you there. It's a nice thing to do. Federal loans. The Perkins loan is nice. It's a needs-based, and it has very low interest rate. I like that one. Fortunately, that's what I ended up with. But then you have the federal subsidized or unsubsidized loans. These are fixed rate loans. They are backed by the federal government. But you do have to qualify, or you don't qualify regardless of your, you have to qualify for the loan, but not based on your finances. Okay, that's a good thing. Anybody know the difference between a fixed rate and a variable rate loan? Yes, sir.
A fixed rate is when the interest rate will never go up, it's going to be the same thing always, and a variable, it can change depending on factors.
The fixed rate never changes. So if today you get a loan and it's a 3% rate, all through college it's 3%. You get out of college, you start to pay it off, it's 3% for the life of the loan. If you have one that's a variable rate, exactly what it sounds like. It may vary. What you may do today is go, oh, well, look, I can either get this fixed rate at 3%, or I can get a variable rate at 2%. Isn't that better? If you're in a market like we are now, you're right, where rates are just going to go up. If you get 2% today, next year maybe 2.5%, then it's 3%. By the time you get out of college, it may be 6 or 7%. So you have to keep that in mind. But that's what that is. Okay? And then the plus loans, they are, again, it is a fixed rate. It covers the cost of all of your education, and there are no variables. You don't have to be needs-based. It doesn't matter about your income. It doesn't matter about your academics. As long as you're doing that, you can get those student loans. Okay? Got that? Timeline. What are you going to be doing and when? Come January. This is going to be your thing. Make yourselves all good notes. Come January, what you want to do. Of course, most parents, we don't receive our W-2 form until maybe late January. So you probably won't be able to do this. You will have to have your parents' financial information when you apply for the FAFSA. You have to. It's part of it. But as soon after January, as soon as they give your W-2 forms, then you can go in there and apply for the FAFSA. So that's your timeline. First thing to do. And again, don't forget the PIN number. Write it down when you do that. Come January, you start applying for these placements. You start taking the placement tests. You can do that. It's a great thing. It's going to tell them, okay, well, maybe you can skip some classes. If you don't have to take English 101 because you have a really great point average there, you can do that. It'll help you with the placement. And then all of the scholarship applications. Again, this is help your student. It's your responsibility. It's your responsibility. Now, you can get your parents to help you, but it's your responsibility to start applying for all of the scholarships that are out there. And then in March, that's when the FAFSA reports come out. The SAR, the Student Aid Report, comes out. They come in March, and again, like I said before, when that report comes out, if you put down 3 different colleges when you took the FAFSA application, it's going to automatically go straight to that college. Those reports are going to go straight to those colleges. Keep in mind, too, when you do this and you apply for colleges, you're going to tell the counselor's office here at the school and say, okay, I'm going to these 3 colleges. I want you to send them my transcripts. They will do that after first semester here, and the colleges are going to use your transcripts up through first semester of this year and say, yes, we want you to come to our school because we think you're a perfect fit. Do not fall into senioritis. Okay? You know what senioritis means? You get lazy second semester. You go, oh, I've already applied, I've done everything, I got a 4.0 average, that's not a problem, all of the colleges want me, I don't even have to go to school, I don't even have to go to classes. Wrong! Any college that sends you an award letter says, yes, you are accepted here, they can always withdraw that award. So, at the end of the school year, the guidance counselors here, they're going to turn around and they're going to send your final transcripts to the colleges of your choice. They're going to look at those. If you have dropped all of your classes, if you had a 4.0 and now you're down to a 3.2, they're going to look at that. If you failed a class, if you didn't go to school, whatever it is, they're going to look at that. They can withdraw your acceptance letter. Keep that in mind. That is going to go to the schools. That's what happens to send the schools out. April, compare your financial aid awards. What have I got? Who said I could have a scholarship? Who said I could have a grant? What do I have to do first to not pay anything back? And then, what am I going to do as far as maybe some student loans, things that I do have to pay back? We'll look at all that. In May, make sure that your transcripts are sent to the schools. The schools are going to do that, but they're not going to do that just because they like you. You're going to have to tell your guidance counselor here at the colleges, make sure that you send my transcripts to them. So it's up to you. And then in the summertime, how many people in here are already working somewhere? After school, you already got a job? Good. Hopefully you're saving some money. This summer, when you graduate from high school, yes, we all want to take our summer trip and spend the first 3 months playing, touring Europe, doing something. Everybody can't do that. So a lot of us, we end up working. If you're working to pay for your college, start saving that money now. Save it, you're going to need much more than you ever thought you needed. Okay? Private student loans, what do you do? Federally funded and other sources, they just aren't enough. The scholarships you applied for, all the grants, they just weren't enough. You still got to have some more money. So what do? You look at some loans. A lot of banks do have private student loans. I know Wells Fargo does. You have to go online. You can't go into any of the banks here in town. You have to go to wellsfargo.com, to go to financial education, and go from there when you apply for the student financing. A lot of banks got out of that. Again, like I said, a lot of the government quit guaranteeing those student loans. Look at the variable interest rates. They are all based on credit. Again, do you have credit? Yes or no? Tell them. Write this down. You see here where it says credit-based approvals. How many of you have seen that TV commercial? Hey, the camel comes through. What day is it? Hey, what day is it? It is hump day. I hate that commercial. But it's irritating, but it gets the point across. They are advertising freecreditreport.com. Don't go there. Don't go to freecreditreport.com, because what they are doing is they are trying to sell you a service to check your credit, and they will monitor your credit. Write this down. Annualcreditreport.com. It's all one word. Annualcreditreport.com. Got it? When you do this, it will ask you for your name, your social security number, your date of birth, your address. If it starts asking you more questions, it's saying, I can't find any record with your name out there or your social security number. That's okay. It means maybe you have no credit whatsoever. But you may have credit that you don't know about. Anybody in here ever looked at your credit? Anybody in here think you actually have a credit report? Good. I'll tell you this. I had a young man come to me. He had graduated from high school. He had gotten his first job, making good money. He came to me and said, okay, I'm working now. I've got my high school education. I'm ready to buy a car. I'm going to borrow some money. I said, great. He says, but I've never applied for a loan anywhere, so I probably don't have any credit. Put in his name and his social security number. Bam! Up popped 5 different collections already on his credit report. Do you know what a collection is on a credit report? It ain't good. It means you didn't pay off a loan, therefore whoever had this loan with you, they turned it over to a collection agency and they put it on your credit report. That drops your credit scores. What had happened, this young man had been in the hospital a year or two earlier. As we all know, it cost a lot of money to go to the hospital, but it was in his name and under his social security number. When the hospitals, the doctors, the anesthesiologists, and all those different people, they sent the bill to the parents to pay it, or they actually sent the bill to him, he said, don't worry about it because our insurance will cover everything, which they eventually did, But before the insurance paid it all off, the hospitals and the doctors had already turned it over to a collection agency. They put it under his name, and bam, he had bad credit when he never applied for the first line. So you don't know if you have credit or not. So go to annualcreditreport.com. You can do this twice a year, and it does not affect your credit. If you do this and nothing comes up, you may want to get one of your parents to say, okay, when's the last time you looked at your credit? How about we pull it up? It does not affect your credit score if we do it this way. You're allowed to do that. It does not give you your credit score. Now, does anybody know what a credit score is? Anybody know the range from a credit score?
0 to 1,000.
Nope. Nope, doesn't have negative. The lowest it can generally go is 350. Now, if you've got a credit score of 350, don't come to the bank. That's where I'm going to help you. The highest it can go generally is going to be either 850 to 900. If you've got a credit score of 800 plus, come on down, see me, see Amanda. We'll give you whatever you want. If you're in the 700 range, it's good. You're still doing good. You guys like to take tests, right? You know that the higher your score, the better, right? Same thing with a credit score. If you're in the 800s, it's like you've made 100. That's 100%. You're go. We love you. If you're in the 700s, it's maybe you're in the 90s. Okay. If you're in the 600s, well, depending on where it is. If you're 650 or above, you're still okay. You're passing. Below that, what happens? Why do you care what your credit score is? You come to see us for a loan. You want to borrow money for a car. Your credit score is 675. Great. You want to borrow money for a Mustang, and we're going to let you pay on it for 5 years. We're going to give you a 6% interest rate. Not a problem. You come to me and your credit score is 620. I'm going to tell you, well, I can't let you borrow money for this car, but I'm going to make you put down 20%. I can't go to 5 years. I can only go 4 years. Instead of that 6% rate, I'm going to be charging you 9% because you have let your credit score drop. So make sure you keep up with your credit score. That's up to you too. Generous borrowing limits. A lot of these loans do have those. That's great. And deferred payments. Do you guys know what a deferred payment is? Anybody? Anybody? When you borrow money this year to go off to college, when do you have to start paying it back? When? When you're out of school. That's deferred. What they mean is, we're going to loan you the money today. We know that you're not going to graduate because you're not going to graduate today because you have no money, you don't have a job, you're still in school. So what we're going to do is we're going to say your anticipated date of graduation from college is, see, you're graduating in 14, so we're going to say you're going to graduate 2018. 2018 comes, we expect you to graduate from college, then we're going to give you maybe 4 to 6 months after that, and then we're going to send you a notice and say, okay, now you need to start making your payment. So you do have time after graduation to actually get a job and start making some money so that you can afford to pay it. That's what the deferred payment is. That's a great thing. I do know that when I went off to college, I got my student loan. They let me wait until it was like, I think maybe September before my first payment was due. That was great. I finally had time. It took me 4 months to get a job, but once you do that, you got it. Handsonbanking.org. I will tell you guys, this is wonderful. Anybody here have younger siblings? That means brothers or sisters back home. Okay. Handsonbanking.org is a great thing that anybody can go to from any computer whatsoever. You can do it even on your iPhone if you want to. Handsonbanking.org. It'll cover anything and everything that has to do with finances. And I say that about your siblings, your younger siblings at home, even if you've got grade school at home, kids at home, they can go here and it pops up and it will let them do some fun games. It's animated for them. They actually learn the difference between needs and wants and all that kind of good stuff. So they're playing games, they're doing that, and it's actually teaching them a little bit about money matters. I like that. So keep that in mind. Any questions? These are some of the places where you can go to get some more information, okay? What kind of questions you guys got? Then I'll go in and start talking to you about some other stuff. Planning for college. A couple of things that we've got here. I think we handed these out. It's the Planning for College Guide. Here's my Vanna, Amanda Vanna. The Planning for College Guide, in here, it does have a timeline for you. It talks about planning for college, what you do first, choosing the college, applying for the scholarships, completing the FAFSA, comparing all of the letters that you get, all the way through. There's places for you to put information down here. What are you doing? The colleges, what are their names, addresses, phone numbers, who are you going to talk to? The scholarship list, what scholarships are you applying for? What are the deadlines for those scholarships? Make sure you look at those. Award letters. Who has sent you award letters? You put those down. Any grants, scholarships, financial aid, all the different colleges that you've worked on. Then the student loans, what are you going to be doing there? Where are you going to go and what are you going to apply for? What are the rates? Things like that. And then, of course, then it talks into once you get off to college and you go through orientation. One of the things that I will tell you, though, is your absolute best friend in the world will be your financial aid officer at your college. Again, go in there. It's your responsibility to go in there and talk to them, ask them, what can I do? What grants can I get? What scholarships can I get? Worst case scenario, where do I need to, then what kind of loans can I get? Got that? Find out too, when you're applying for college loans, a couple of things that you can keep in mind. You do not have to wait until you graduate from college and wait before you start paying it back. With any loan, and student loans are just as the same, as soon as you get that money, the interest rate starts calculating. If, while you're in school and you've borrowed the money and you're working part-time somewhere, doing whatever, if you're making enough money to actually start making some payments, or something happens with your parents' finances, you can make payments against your student loan anytime throughout. But it's up to you to ask the financial guidance counselor there, how can I do this? What are the terms? What are the regulations? Does it change? Will it hurt me? Will it help me? Does it, do they keep doing that? So keep that in mind too. The other item that we have for everybody is called Your Financial Aid Journey in 5 Easy Steps. It really is good because it says, here are the things that you need to do. First thing, of course, what did I say? The FAFSA. That's where everybody does that one. You look at that. The net price calculator, that gives you an idea per college. What's it going to cost me to go to school here? What's the tuition? What's the room and board? Can I do that? Am I going to be living in an apartment somewhere? You're going to have to buy all my own food. You don't want to get that. Whatever it is, helps you figure out how much it's going to cost you. On the back of this is really great. Again, in the top part of it, it has the dates, the times, what you want to do from January all the way over. But then in the middle section, I love that one because the first section on that talks about what you can get for free. These are the things that you don't have to pay back. Those are the grants and the scholarships. And make sure that you exhaust all of those possibilities first. Then you go to any kind of loans and things. The last little item here is what we call our scholarships. Wells Fargo Awards this year, we are awarding 200 $1,000 scholarships. Anybody can apply for those. High school and college students can apply. And you can apply every single year. You do not have to have an account with us. It does not cost you any money. No purchase necessary. All of those, things going fine. All you have to do is go to wellsfargo.com/careers, college steps, and you apply for the scholarship. They award them randomly, and it starts again every August the 1st. So August the 1st through July the 31st, somewhere in there, they're going to be awarding 200 $1,000 scholarships. August 1st next year, it starts all over again. One of the things that we did this past college year, we actually had a college sweepstakes where they awarded 2 grand prizes. And the grand prizes were $5,000 cash prize to use as you would like, and the car. It was called Take the Trip of a Lifetime. So they awarded 2 cars, and each of those people got a $5,000 scholarship so that during the summer months or whatever, they could take that car, they could take the $5,000, and they could take the trip of a lifetime across the United States. hopefully, we've done that for the last 2 years, and I'm hoping we'll do it again. So keep that in the back of your mind. We're doing that again this year. You can apply for that one too. Any questions so far? How much time I got? That doesn't work. I keep looking at that clock. Keep in mind too, a couple of things. How many people in here, we have our checking account, right? We didn't go through that today. Good numbers. How many people in here have ever used a debit card? Raise your hand. You've used debit cards before. Okay. Whose was it? Parents. Some of you have your own debit card. Great. That's wonderful. Those of you who used your parents' debit card, did they give you their PIN number? Yeah. Those of you who have a checking account and you have your own debit card, don't ever, ever, ever give anybody your PIN number. And I'll tell you why. I had a mother come to see me. She was not happy. She said, "Oh, this bank stole $100 out of my checking account." I said, "Well, let's find out what happened." Looked at the bank records versus her checkbook register, and yes, there was $100 missing from her checking account. However, it was taken from an ATM with her debit card. And I said, "Do you still have your debit card? Have you lost it?" She said, "No, it's right here." She pulled it out of her pocket. But see, I told you I still have my debit card. This bank stole $100. Well, whoever used the ATM, they used that card, and they had to know what your PIN number is. It's the only way they could have gotten it. Can you think of anybody that maybe has access to your card that also knows your PIN number? Well, no, nobody but my little son. 3 guesses who got the money. It was her son. She was not happy with me because I was not going to give her her money back because her son is the one who took it. And she was really not happy with her son because he took money without telling her about it. So keep that in mind. When you go off to college, you've got college roommates, you've got a best friend, never, please never hand somebody your debit card and say, "Here, you go ahead and use my debit card. Here's the PIN number." They use it with anything they want to. They do whatever they want to. Don't come to us at the bank because we're not going to help you. It was your responsibility to keep that PIN number safe and secure. 3 guesses on what the number 1 PIN number is across the United States that people use. 1, 2, 3, 4. All together now. What are you not going to use? Thank you. Do not use 1, 2, 3, 4. The second most used PIN number is your date of birth. Do not use your date of birth on your PIN. That's your PIN because everybody knows that. If somebody were to pick up your wallet and they see your debit card and they see your driver's license, they go, "Well, there's your date of birth. It's on your driver's license. I bet they've used it. Let me see if that works." Yep, they got it. So make sure you don't use that. I also tell everybody this too. You may not want to use your girlfriend or your boyfriend's date of birth because you know that's not going to last anyway. And if you go to the ATM and you have to put in their date of birth every time, it's just going to give you mad. So don't do that, but you can use whatever you want to. Use a strange number or whatever it is, something that you can remember. Please do not write your PIN number on your debit card. I can't tell you how many people come to see me and they pull out their debit card. "I can't remember my PIN number here." And they look at it. Or they go, "Well, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to write it on the card. I just put it on a little piece of paper and stick it in my wallet, right beside my card." They're going to take it. Somebody sees your debit card and they see that little piece of paper with 4 numbers on it. They're going to use it. They're going to try it. So keep that in mind too. Okay? Anybody in here should have a checking account right now. If you don't, think about it. Where are you going to college? Where are you going to be? What city are you in? Think about where you're going, what banks are there in that particular city. When I go off to Berry College and I talk to all the freshmen down there, I can tell you how many of them come down there and go, "Oh, I just opened my checking account with Bank of America," because I know they're everywhere. I said, everywhere but Rome. There is not a Bank of America in Rome, Georgia. You have to go to Callahan or down to Cartersville, or you have to come all the way back home to Dalton to go to ATM. So keep that in mind. Check that out. It's a very simple thing. Just look and see. If you're thinking about going to, where University of Georgia, there's Wells Fargo's all over campus even. So keep that in mind. And everybody right now can have a checking account, whether you think you can or not. 17 years old, yes, you can have a checking account with your name only. Nobody else has to be on there with you. Keep that in mind. Okay? What other questions do you guys have that has anything whatsoever to do with money, finances, where you are, savings? Anything? Okay? Y'all have some stuff down here for students? Anybody? Thank you for your attention. I appreciate it. Hopefully,